Well, good morning again, and we're going to come right up here with a lengthy case. And this case has several severe problems that we had to do with it, and there's no way for me to cover it in just a few minutes, so I'm going to take a while to do it, or you could take it apart and just study this case for a day or two. It's got a lot of stuff in it, and we started this case back in 71, and things couldn't be corrected till he went further, and you had to wait, and so it took several years to finish this case, but we finally did do that. Let's get started with it now. And this is a young lady. I knew her parents and everybody, and I knew the young lady. And this problem, you don't recognize having any problem at all till you come in and x-ray this. And she was 11, age 11 here, and this is 1971. And she's got a gap there in the front part on this cephalometric, and the facial profile is straight up and down. And we later on here the cephalometric in 1993, and this was in 71. So I've got pictures on her from the time 1971, so that's about 22 years that we watched this case, and I saw her after she was 33 years in 1 month, I guess. Okay, here is the problem when we first saw this. Age 11, 9, 8, 71. I mean, there's an impaction up here. There's an impaction here. There's a real jewel impaction there. And this is just to get squeezed out right here. See, no room for it. And this is coming in. We got these two teeth. They're going to have to go in this gap right here, else we end up taking teeth out on it. And yet she's a straight facial profile. So this is going to be a tough case. There are no lateral teeth in here. So we're missing the upper laterals. We've got all four lower anterior teeth. And let's see what this turns out to be here. And first thing out, we worked on this cuspid tooth. Just lay it down there. Now here are the lateral. This is the lower cuspid, lower right cuspid that's impacted here. And so we're going to have to go down and uncover this cuspid and put a hook on it and pull it up. Now the secret of doing this, it's going to be right on top of these two teeth. Don't put a rectangular wire in these teeth and hold this root. Just pull it over it and let it be on a round wire. The root will move over this way as the cuspid tooth drags by it. And then once you get it by, the tooth will come back, or you can bring it back like that. And this is I did another one like this from a dentist's son, and they went to the orthodontic school, and they said, well, they couldn't get it in there. Well, so we did that. Now this one, we've pulled it up so far, and we're going to be working on it, bringing it on in, bring it over those other teeth. And now we pull this tooth all the way up here and open this gap, and this is 73, so we've been in there a couple of years by this time. And now we got no lateral tooth here and bring this cuspid. You're going to have to go down in these gaps, and we'll have to shape that cuspid up to make it look like a lateral. And that's going to bring us one tooth forward in this. So here we go. We've got this working on that, and we're bringing these cuspids down. We took the deciduous teeth out and bring this cuspid down into the mouth. And here it's in there, and we will slide it around forward. And we end up in 1993. This is 22 years from the time we started it, about that much. Now let's look at it, look at the case, and I'm going to have to go pretty fast. I'm sorry for the length of time it's going to take here. But there's no laterals up above. And you can go over this slow if you want to. We came up with this idea of elastic thread. We went to a point, and this is what we later figured out, putting spraying up here and dental floss down to the bottom to bring those teeth in. Now all four of these are here, but the upper laterals are missing. And that is a good way to pull this. Like you go around here with your arch wire, and you get to the place that you put a hook on the tooth or make a circle in it. You come on around, and then you run the elastic down like that. Now this elastic has to hold up from the time you see her to the next time. Now we've worked this out where we put a spring in here, and it'll have the same pressure on it, or virtually the same as it pulls the tooth in. So that's going to go. Now on the other side, you've got it impacted. We thought it would come in. Now up above, there it goes again. Now we'll show you. Now there's another problem that comes up when we had banded cases. Like your front teeth came down and hit one of these brackets right here, and it bent the bracket down. Well, when it bent the bracket down, that changed the tooth. It pushed this tooth back. That's something you don't have in brackets. You bite on it, it's going to come off, or you won't push the tooth out of position. So you have to come in and take the band off and re-band, put a bracket on the band in the right place, and go back to a smaller arch wire and pull that tooth back in place. That's another one of the big problems we had with the case. But see, the tooth was up higher. As it bent this down, the wire flexed, and then the wire picked the tooth up. And so if you looked in there, you think, that's crazy. But that is a problem back when you had banded cases, and that happened. So it goes down, you have to fix that. All right, we're opening a space above for the impacted cuspids, and we will get back. We open the space bigger than we need. We says an open coil spring in here. We've got pressure pushing these apart down here, and we got that cuspid was down in here. That thing is right up there now. See, now the upper teeth, the upper cuspids are impacted also. So the one on the right side of the mouth, you can see it coming through. This one is way out of place. So we know it's right under here. We didn't have that super x-ray back then, but I'm going to make a opening there in the tissue, and then you cauterize this part and get it to stop bleeding, and then you go in and bond a hook on that tooth. And so we hooked it up and run this back in here. It had to have a hook on it that she could put pressure on that tooth. The other cuspid made it in here. So there we're wearing elastic, and you got to have a lot of cooperation on a case like this to get that. And of course she wanted out of these things, and this is 1975, and we started in 71. So it's, and it's something you had to wait till things develop where you take them out, so it's going to take you longer to do the case regardless of how fast you can do whatever's done there. But we've hooked something onto that, and she reached in there and hooked an elastic. She's running it underneath here, and we kept pulling on that, and the young lady cooperated in every way. The bottom now is lined up, and we've sacrificed the bicuspid in here somewhere because we had the teeth out above. The cuspids were out, so we took those out. And now there is the impacted tooth. And we used to make a circle like this, and then we'd bend something back over the top. And you could reach up in there and hook a rubber band to that hook and pull, and we pull this tooth into place there. Now we have some better ways. I hate those little chains, so you have to run something through the gap in the chain when you change on them, and that takes longer to do than just hooking it. So we make our own hooks for things. Now the other cuspid is in, and the cuspid's got these bands, points like this, and we'll get both of those cuspids in, and we've got the lower arch just about finished everything. And now the cuspids are coming through, and this cuspid back then we didn't have the way of wrapping that chain around the tooth. In other words, we could have put a bracket over here and went around like this and hooked that, and you'd have to put a hump in the acrylic here, and it would turn that tooth around in a hurry. So we bonded on this and threw it across that way, and we got the tooth turned. And I'm sorry for my voice just goes out on me. I guess that's one thing with age. This is just showing you the hook there, and we put this together, and now we got the cuspids in. We banded them, but you had to. Now, if you had brackets on them, you could be absolutely sure what you're going to do. So we had to trim the cuspids down, and the way we do that, I'm going to just make a little white page here. You take a cuspid that's coming something like this, and you trim the roots of it going up this way. You trim it off on the side, trim a little bit off here, trim a little bit there, and take it down from the front. And if you look at it the sideways in here, you've got to come back to keep so it can close with your other teeth. You have to make a little gap in there so that the lower end of your teeth will fit right in that. So there's 5 places you have to do. Now, here is the young lady, and this is 1976, and we've got the cuspids. The color of them is slightly different from the teeth, but you don't notice it. They're very heavy, hefty laterals there. And we see her in 1993, This is 22 years after we finished, and the teeth have erupted down together. And these teeth are worn off a little bit too much in here and coming down over on the other side. And went a little bit out of line. Well, that's not bad. The midline is right on. And this is, well, 93. It shifted slightly from 76. So this is a difficult case to do, and I don't recommend people just starting out taking on cases like this, but you have to learn how to do it sooner or later. So you have to trim this out down here so that your lower teeth will fit back up underneath that. So you trim that a little in this right here so that the lower teeth kind of come in and they touch up there. So this cuspids work real good as laterals. And so that is something that we do. If we're missing laterals, we just slide the cuspid forward. And you may have to use a reverse headgear or something if you want to bring all the teeth to close that space up. And so there we go, 1973, and that's 93. It's still there. This is 22 years after we started the case. And there she was in 1971, and here she is in 1973. 93, excuse me. 20-some odd years later. There's the 71, and here is 93. And there she is, and here she is. So thanks for watching this, and I hope you will pick up something. If you really study this case, it's if you'd have left this lady alone, I don't know what kind of mess those teeth would have come in. And orthodontics is amazing that you can move those teeth all over the place like that, and they stay there. And you have to get them further in the balance of everything. But that's gives you a lot of joy to see something like that. Thank you now for watching.